Coming up next, I'm going to tell you the truth about college degrees. And then we'll give you 5 signs to know when it's time to ask for a raise. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it starts right now. I'm coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and then how you will get there. It is about your purpose, and your purpose is to contribute to make the world a better place. And we're going to look at the work contribution because it's 90,000 plus hours, many times 30 plus years for the average American. So it is a large portion of your life, thus a big area of contribution. And that's what we talk about here on the Ken Coleman Show. And so we're excited to have you with us. A couple ways to engage: 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. That's the phone number. You can also submit your question via the chat window right next to our video window as you're watching live here. And so we'll get to some of those questions and get some good stuff coming your way today. So we'll get to the calls in a few minutes. But I want everybody's attention who is either considering some type of higher education yourself, or you are a parent or a grandparent and you've got some influence for a young person. And I'm going to give you a history lesson to back up what I'm going to say. And this is going to shock some of you, and I'm okay with it. But I ask that you give me 5 minutes of attention. And if this first statement freaks you out, wait 5 minutes, and then you'll see how it's relevant to what we discuss every day. Here's the lie about higher education, and it has been marketed to us for quite some time. History lesson coming shortly. Here's the lie. The college degree ain't what it used to be. Emphasis on ain't. The college degree ain't what it used to be. Why? Because our economy has shifted dramatically. And as a result, corporations have shifted dramatically. They're taking people and training them on the job. Most college degrees are not relevant to actual jobs in the workforce. Now, that is not the case for every job or career. There are instances where the degree is the best way or the only way for now. But we have a scourge of college seniors who graduate with a degree and a bunch of debt, and they can't even get hired. Why? Because college education has become an institution that has been marketed to us for half a century, that it is the way to success. Let me show you where it started. Can I get the picture, gentlemen? Put this up on the screen. My good friend Mike Rowe and I, the guy who you know from Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe and I have become friends. I've had the opportunity to interview him for a few times. Let's leave this up on the screen. So that's Mike in the picture. Now, this is an actual poster that he went and found because the first time he saw that poster was in 1977. And he's in the office of his high school guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor's giving him advice, and he references the poster behind him. And Mike, of course, has been staring at the poster for the entire length of the conversation. And you can see there that it says, "Work smart," underneath the college grad, beaming with his crisp diploma. "Not hard," referring to the depressed and dirty trade worker. Now, let's just pause for a second. Was that poster intended to spur thought? And was it intended to be a positive influence? I absolutely believe that's true. But what's the unintended effect of that poster? Please put it back up on the screen. Here's the unintended effect. Anybody with any sense of logic looks at that poster and goes, oh, if I want to be successful and have a good life, maybe a great life, I got to go to college. If I want to settle for a depressing life, a below average life, where I'm dirty and nasty and stinky all day long, I better really seriously figure out how to go to college and then what to do with that degree. And this was the message that was sent. It became a marketing message. So when I say that the college degree ain't what it used to be, it's not as relevant as it used to be. Is it still relevant? Yes, in many fields. But you need to understand, folks, that there has been a marketing message that has been shoved down our throats that the only way to be successful is to go to college. Now, that has created a booming industry. But let me give you the history so you to go, Ken, that's your opinion. No, it's not my opinion. Here's a quick history lesson. 1972. The education amendments that get passed lead to the Pell Grant, which was a government grant for students to go to college. Prior to 1970, the federal government was basically not involved in funding higher education. Let's fast forward to 1978. In 1978, the federal government, as they like to do, all bureaucrats and politicians are always trying to figure out how to make more money. And so they figured out this Pell Grant is very popular, and it was. And they said, well, instead of the grant, what if we offer more money and we call it a student loan and we back it with the federal government and we make it a low interest rate? And that was a very popular idea because now the message had taken hold. Colleges were springing up and spreading throughout states. So this is 1978. So from 1960 to about 1985 is a period of history called the Cold War, an arms race with Russia. We don't need to get into that, but the federal government also realized that these institutions of academia could be great research institutions to help us compete with other foreign countries. And so they drove even more federal dollars to help with research. And then governors and states started going, wait a second, we're getting a lot of jobs in here, which is more tax dollars, more money. And so what happened? Governors started realizing this is about economic development and political achievement. Uh-oh. Is anybody catching up to me right now? Joe, you following along? We got ourselves a real political marketing campaign going on. It's not about training kids. It's about economic development and making me look like a great governor so that I can become a senator and maybe higher and higher and higher. Now there's an ulterior motive with a really powerful message. Parents, do you want your kids to be losers and work in the trades? A blue-collar job? A non-college educated job? Is that what you want for your kids? And kids are inevitably getting the message. Do I want a less than life? And we created a working class warfare. The haves and the have-nots, all from a marketing message. And so many of you young people watching right now, and many of you parents who have kids in school and they're working their way up, and you've already got this cultural pressure. Where's Johnny going to go to school? Where's Susie going to go to school? Will they get the grades necessary and the SAT or the ACT? And how are we going to afford it? And it's all this pressure and stress that has nothing to do with the real issue. And the real issue is college education. Is it the best way or the only way for your child or for you to get where you want to go? Now, education is always going to be a play, but it doesn't mean higher education. It could be a certification, a training course, an online webinar. Yes, you'll always need to learn something to get qualified, but don't assume it has to be college education. You have been sold a lie, and I'm very serious about this. The lie is that for you to be successful or for everybody to have a successful, desirable life, it involves college education. That's a lie, and there's nothing to support that. The fact of the matter is, a lot of white-collar people lost their job. They had the fancy degrees that they couldn't afford, and they're in student loan debt, and they got laid off during COVID. And yet, the men and women that didn't go get the fancy degree, if they got a degree at all, are running trade businesses and they're keeping people employed, and they're multimillionaires because they've been working for themselves. And yeah, they get a little dirty and a little stinky, but they actually like the problem they're solving and the people they're helping. Wake up. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of having to hear parents feel the pressure to push a kid into college when they know the kid is not the brightest student in the world. See, understand this. Here's what happened. When I gave you that history lesson, realize what happened. When this became about economic development and political achievement, the state bureaucrats in every state and the federal bureaucrats pushed a message down to schools. And schools went from being teachers to counselors to get kids prepared for this next rite of passage that all of a sudden was shinier than anything we'd ever seen before. And guaranteed results. So what happened? The teacher started taking the brightest students and saying, hey, you're very bright. You do really well in this cattle call of a classroom environment. One size fits all. Now I'm stepping on toes. And because you're so bright, we're going to push you to the greatest institutions. But for you kids, you're not as bright as the rest of them. We're going to put you in a separate class. We're going to put you over here because we don't know how to instruct you. And quite frankly, you're too much effort for us to instruct you. We've got these bright students and we've got to put them in the machine because this is what's been sold to us. And this is what's happened. So you need to wake up, parents. Young people, if you're feeling this pressure, please keep listening to the show. Let's figure out what you were created to do. And it may or may not involve college education. If it does require it, I'm all for it. Hear me say, for those of you that I've somehow offended because we live in the most offended time in our lives, I'm sorry you feel offended. Go back and watch it again. And what I said is that college is not the only way for everybody. It is the only way for some. It is the best way for some. But for most, it's becoming increasingly irrelevant. Go look at the data. Google it. Google college graduates and being overqualified in the sense that they paid all this money for a degree and they can't get a job that will allow them to afford the student loan payment. Wake up. The marketing message has worked. And I'm here to say that you were created to fill a unique role through your work. And I don't care, and you shouldn't care if it requires a degree or not. What are we doing? We're wasting time and money, a lot of us, pursuing something that is about cultural esteem. That's it. So, that makes you uncomfortable? Great. Because if I can nudge you parents out of making a bad decision that your kid doesn't want to do and cannot afford, great. If those of you adults out there that are going, Ken, I want to transition to this career because I know it's what I was created to do and I feel like I got to go get a master's degree. Do you? Do you need it? Is it the only way? Is it the best way? If it's not, call me. There is another way. Oh, and it's so much more enjoyable and so much more affordable. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. I'm fired up now. Let's get some life change, shall we? Gabrielle joins us in Great Meadows, New Jersey. Gabrielle, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. Thank you so much for taking my call.
You bet. What's happening?
So I am having trouble getting past the computer-generated application process in order to talk to a person. Mm-hmm. So my issue is I'm looking for a remote position. So it's not necessarily one that I would know a person at because these positions I may be working out of Ohio or California.
Right.
And it's a specialized nursing position, but I need to work from home. Mm-hmm. So the first time I filled out the application, it said, do you currently hold an Ohio nursing license? And the minute I said no, thinking I could say, but I could have an Ohio nursing license in 48 hours, it kicked me out and said, you don't meet minimum requirements.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It kicked me out.
Right.
And so then the second time, I thought I was one up on this. So it said, do you hold a Florida nursing license? So I stopped the application. I saved it. I sent my check to the Florida Board of Nursing, went back to the application and said yes. Because I felt like I sent them the check. I could have my Florida license in 48 hours.
Right.
And I thought that worked because a couple days later, I got an email that said, we think that you're going to be a really good fit for this position. Do you have a few minutes to answer some questions? So I thought I would get to speak to a person, and it was just more computer-generated questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
what happened? What happened on that set of questions?
Well, that set of questions, I got kicked out with the salary issue because it said, what is your expected salary? Or what do you anticipate salary for this position? So I said, well, this is how much I make now. But I wanted to be able to explain that I would take less for a remote position. And it said, nope, salary range is above that's way overpaid for what this position is.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know how to get past this to actually get a person where I can speak to someone and explain the position.
Yeah. Well, you got a couple issues here. Number one, you might be applying for a position that just isn't a good fit for you because you don't even know what the salary range is. So
No.
I guess you could go back in. Do you have an idea what the number is that your bottom number? Like I can't go any lower than this?
Well, I do. I mean, I know, I'm looking for a part-time retirement position.
Right. So here's my question.
So I know what I need to live, but I don't want to lowball myself because
but it's not.
I'm highly qualified. I
get it, but I'm not saying you should lowball yourself. I'm saying in these applications, you got to put that in there. You got to put that in there.
It just gives you like yes or no.
I understand, but this is the nature of this type of thing. So I'm just telling you, if you want to get to a person interview on these type of positions, it sounds to me like this is the process. And so the only way to get around this process is where you're digging and trying to get yourself on the phone with somebody.
Right.
At these companies, but they've put this process in place. So you kind of, I don't have some secret is my point. It kind of is what it is. Now, I'm the type of person, if I want that job, I'm finding a way to get somebody on the phone and at least say, could you explain to me this process? They might go, well, no, we've got it in place because somebody's getting hired doing that thing. So I'm just curious, where I was going is if you've got your basic bottom number and you didn't put that in there, and then when I said, well, why didn't maybe go back and put it in there? You're going, no, I'm worth more than that. Then I think you've got a challenge with the type of gig you're trying to go after. Instead of trying to get around the electronic or the computer interview it's really a screening process is what you're going through. They're screening people out, which is smart.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that's not the right fit for you. So, I'm going, okay, well, I know I want to do nursing. I'm a specialized nurse. I know exactly the kind of nursing I want to do because I presume that's the case for you. Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go, I know I want to work from home, whatever that looks like. And so I'm looking for relationships and connections, my web of connections. And eventually I'm going to find somebody that I can make a connection with before I ever even go through this screening process. You've got to figure out a way to where someone has identified you and says, okay, she's great. Let's go ahead and move her up to the next level. You're not going to be in the screening process. That's the only way this is going to work for you is who's hiring your specialized type of nurses in your local area, and how do you find that, get around that just general screening? Because I still believe in the good old-fashioned recommendation where somebody goes, hey, I actually know the person who's hiring over there. Oh, great. Yeah, let me call them and tell them that that this screening thing has been really weird, or not even that at all. Just, hey, let me tell them about you. We'll get you in the interview process. That's how you're going to get that gig. But you're allowing yourself to be limited by this screening process, as opposed to going, I get that that's the process, but that's how everybody else goes through the gate. I'm not a go through the gate person. I'm a go around the back door person. And I think that's what you need to be right now. That's how you get the job. Because right now you're just in a screening process that's driving you crazy. That's not the best strategy anyway. It might not be the right job. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Columbus, Ohio next. Kevin is there. Kevin, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Kevin, I'm living the dream. What's going on?
Excellent. All right. I'm calling you looking for some guidance on some target selection for possible job options. Right now, I'm still in phase one, still trying to identify what that discovery phase. I created a short list of items that I'm good at, things that I'd like to do, passions, and a general idea on people I want to help. Mm-hmm. But where I'm coming at the crossroads is I'm trying to find places where, or job ideas, where I can direct my focus for my research and then identifying targets to then go out and pursue.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I need you to be more specific. I mean, where are you specifically getting hung up?
I'm getting hung up on identifying the crossroads of what I'm good at and what I like to do, and finding a job that.
Okay, so you're at the point where you figured out the intersection, you figured out the sweet spot, and you got your role in mind, or you're not even that far.
I'm actually I still need to identify that role.
Okay, all right. So let's walk through it. Talent, passion, mission. Talent's what you do best. We're going to figure out where this intersects, and let's see if we can come up with a description here. So what do you do best? Give me the top things.
All right, top things I do best. One is planning, learning technical systems, analyzing doctrine, regulations, procedures, making a list of actions to accomplish goals, making tools. I'm good at Excel, things very technical, process-driven.
Okay, great.
Things that I like to do. I'm sorry, am I going too fast?
No, you're awesome. I'm guessing that you like to do most of the things you just told us you're good at, right?
Well, things I like to do, one is flying. They're very much related to that. I was an aviation major in school and had to change things around, but I really get a kick out of flying.
Okay, so you love the idea, but being a pilot, that's work that you would really love. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, what else? What other work the idea of thinking about it, you get excited about it?
Learning new technologies, learning machinery, sharing what I know.
Is that a job? Is there a job out there in the marketplace where your job is to learn machines?
That's actually where I'm not quite sure with that one.
Okay, so but my point is there are probably jobs that involve learning, but it's only for the purpose of operating. So do you like operating new machines, or you just like learning about them and then telling somebody else how they work?
It's not as much for operating them. I like learning about them and moving on.
So not doing anything with the learning. You're not interested in training people on how to use these machines.
Oh, training people, yes.
Okay, good. That's important. You see the difference there? So now we're starting to get some clarity. Okay, what else? What other work are you just really, really excited about?
Let's see.
Do you not enjoy working with technical processes? Analyzing? Do you enjoy doing the work of analyzing procedures and going, this isn't very efficient here. Here's 3 ways that this could be more efficient. Is that something you enjoy doing?
Yes, that is something I do.
All right. Do you see how that's connected? All right, that's connected to your talent. Almost always it's not almost always there's a direct connection from what you do best and what you love to do. It's just a slight tweak, right? So you do enjoy analyzing processes and procedures because you're a guy who loves efficiency. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think we got enough right there under talent and passion, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So now mission is, now that we know what we do well and we know the kind of work you love, so we'll just say flying planes, training others on how to operate machines, technical nature, I'm guessing. And then you love to analyze and the word is not train, but you love to analyze and execute on processes. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay, great. So that's the work you love to do. So now we go, well, what are the results of your work that matter deeply to you? Because all work creates results. So when you start thinking about who do I most want to help? What's the problem I love to solve? What are the solutions to those problems that just give me the juice? Those are all connected under mission. So what's the results that you just go, Ken, if I was driving these results most of my day, every day, I am beyond fulfilled. What's the answer?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
Okay, so you're a process guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the formula. You use what you do best to do the work you love to produce results that matter to you. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking you, we know what you love to do, whether I give you a job as a pilot, or I give you a job training people on technical aspects of things, or I give you a job where you're analyzing processes and making recommendations to improve the processes. I'm just spitting back what you gave to me, bro. If I give you one of those jobs, what are the results of those jobs that you go, man, yeah, I want to fly for this reason? What are the results of your work that fire you up? Are you driven towards just the execution of flying in the sky and being a part of efficiency, moving something from here to there, A to B, whether it's people or machines or something? Or are you get more fired up about training and seeing somebody's light bulb come on a very complex issue? You know, or are you more fired up about processes?
That light bulb going on.
Okay. So do you understand what I say? What are the results that matter most to you?
Yes. Okay. I get it. Bringing clarity on a subject that somebody's got the big question mark over their head for.
That's exciting. So that's the results of your work that you most love, right?
I would agree.
Okay, good. So now we're on the same page. So where in the marketplace, what are all the ways, and I'm just saying you could think of 3 or 4, 5, 7, 15 jobs, or even career fields where you can use what you do best, Kevin, to do the work you love to do, to see light bulbs come on. So you use that planning and analyzing and the execution and the technical prowess that you have, the process side of your brain. You use that talent to train others how to use those processes or do the processes better. Why? Because you love seeing the light bulb come on and you have a direct connection to making their light bulb come on and they're better. And as a result, they do their job better. That's what gives you the juice. So where can you do that in the marketplace? What types of jobs? Forget titles. Where do you do that?
I'm thinking training, instructing.
Yeah, absolutely. You're nailing it. So trainer, right? So we're using a one word, and I like this, the one word. You know, I think that I think if you were going to pick a one word descriptor, you and I could differ on which is the word, but I think it's instructor. I think you love instructing. Is that true?
I would agree. That is true.
You know why you love instructing? Because you love the learning and the training part. You love learning what you need to learn to be able to pass it on to others. You get the juice out of both of those. And that's what a good instructor is. They learn and then pass on the learning to others. Does that square up with your heart?
That is right in line.
Hey, Kevin, we got there, man. What do you think?
I think it's cool, man. I just need to identify what the targets now.
Right. So here's your homework. Where can I be where can I be the role of instructor and instruct on the things that I want to instruct, which is really technical things? So where does that happen? What are all the companies that have those people that do that? And you're just simply coming back to clarity every time. I know that I've got to fill the role of instructor. This is the role I was created to fill. My sweet spot is at the intersection of what I do best, what I love to do, and the results that matter deeply to me. And that's how we got you to that sweet spot. And inside that sweet spot is that role. That's your contribution zone, and you're filling that role in multiple jobs. I think it's wide open for you, but that becomes your litmus test now.
All right.
You ready to go?
Let's get to it.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can literally hear your brain cranking right now. That's good stuff. Go, Kevin, go. 844-747-2577. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's go to the chat room, and then I want to hit this article from Forbes magazine on 5 signs that it's time for you to start thinking about a raise. But I'm not a fan of asking for a raise, and I'll cover that as well. But I think they've got some great stuff here. I want to share that, and so we'll get to that before we wrap the show. But let's go to the chat room. R12 Connor says, Ken, I'm pregnant with my second child, and I'm worried about making a job change. I have a job that has great benefits. However, it's not my passion. Should I switch jobs? Not until you have something to switch to that you are passionate about. So right now, and again, this is one of those where I wish you could call in. And if you can, we'll see if we can fit you in here before we close the show. Madison is standing by, 844-747-2577. Because here are the questions I would ask you. Do you, A, know what passion is, what work you love to do? If you don't, we got to figure that out. Then once we figure that out, then we start looking for it and we start working towards it. Then we get it. Then we leave. And you're pregnant anyway, so you're going to have maternity. So you've got to look at that calendar and how that affects this process. If you do know the work that you love to do and you feel like you can go get that now, go get it before maternity leave. If you would rather wait, that's fine too, until you're ready to come back. And during your maternity leave, you're not just with baby, but you're scheming and you're finding something and you go find it. So that's the deal. Don't switch jobs until you have something to switch to. But yes, eventually switch. All right. Copytech 36. I'm 51 and I just got fired from a job I've been at for 15 years. What should I do? Oh man, that stinks. First of all, I'm really sorry. This stinks. But I said this the other day on the show. I think I want to keep saying this. This is not your sentence. This is your situation. And at 51, you've been there 15 years and you're north of 50. So you've got a lot of uncertainty going on just by being let go. Then you add in the fact that you're 51, you start to go, oh my gosh, and all the fears of ageism and all that stuff. And again, it's real. Okay, that some people might not be as willing to hire you at 51. Okay, but that's not your sentence. This is a new beginning, and you have to embrace it as that. As sucky as it is, let's turn this into something really, really good. Let's turn rejection into redirection. You feel rejected right now, and in some ways you have been rejected. Okay. But we don't know if it's because you were, I don't know. I don't know the situation. But the point is learn from it. Number 2, move on from it. And you can. You must. So what should I do? Get clear on what it is you really want to do. All right. Let's get clear on that pretty quickly. Now, if you need a day job, go get a day job. If it's going to take you time to get to that dream job, that's okay. Go get a couple of day jobs, whatever it takes. So get stable is what we need right now. If you've got some financial stability and some flexibility as a result of that, then let's put all of our effort into taking the steps necessary to go do what it is you really want to do. So thanks for the chat questions. All right, let's go to this article here. Forbes magazine, really good stuff here. I'm going to roll through this pretty quickly. Because I want, for those of you that are new to the program, to hear how I want you to handle this important conversation about an increase in your compensation. So here are, this is really good, 5 signs it's a good time to ask for a raise. Number 1, when you come off of a big win. Now, I read this, and I'll be honest with you, Joe Mass. I read this, and I go, well, I appreciate what they're saying. You come off a big win, but don't just show up the next day going, hey, yeah, so since I'm pretty freaking awesome, should we talk about a contract extension? I don't like that. So I do want to put a caveat out there that, yes, you come off a big win, and there's some high value But don't go in right away with the old raise talk. Now, I'm going to tell you how I would approach all this. I want to run through the 5 things and then tell you how to approach it. All right, number 2, your department is doing particularly well. So your team's winning. That's great. Number 3, your company is really killing it. They're flush with cash. Number 4, you got another offer. And number 5, your role is in high demand. Okay? Now, these are all good things for you to reference. But some of you, if you're not careful, you'll take this information and go, okay, hey, listen, it's time for me to go talk raise. And I don't ever like talking raise. What I like talking is performance measures. And when you and your leader can get clear on your current performance, your past performance, and what a future performance win will be, and you got 2 out of the 3, and then you go, hey, man, things are going well, and I'm loving this, and I want to keep winning for the company. Because all of these essentially lead to this conversation. And what you want to reference is look, I want to keep winning. And a part of that winning is obviously more responsibility. And with that responsibility and success, more compensation. That's not a silly thing. That's not an aberration. That's not a crazy ask. But you couch it with, hey, we're doing well. I just came off this way, whatever. These are just momentums, essentially. These are momentum moments. And they're saying capitalize on it. Yeah, but you've got to do it the right way. Because you don't want to look greedy. You don't want to look prideful. You don't want to look ungrateful. All the things. So by tying it to a performance plan, hey, I'd like some more responsibility as a result of how we're doing and how I'm doing. Are you okay with that? Or I want to learn some additional skills that you think make me more valuable for you and our team. That's a great way to start. Okay, yeah, sure. Well, can we be specific about what those are and what those need to be, and can we measure that growth? So, if I'm taking a course, well, then I've got to successfully complete the course and show the evidence of that. If it's, I'm going to give you more responsibilities, you got to say, great. So what does a win look like in these added responsibilities, and how do we measure success so that we see growth and actual results? And then if I achieve these things, how does that affect my compensation? These kind of conversations are a much better way to come about this overall conversation. It's not, hey, company's flush with cash. That staff meeting report said things are great. How about a bump for your boy? Let's not do that. That's not going to be received very well. I'll give you a bump. They're going to give you a fist bump. Hey, yeah, attaboy, way to go. Yeah, come on, folks, be careful. And again, I'm oversimplifying because the article lays these things out, and these are good signs, but you still got to handle it with the right spirit. The right spirit. Hey, listen, we're blowing up on Instagram, having a blast over there. If you're on Instagram, I'd love for you to connect with me at Ken Coleman. I go live on Instagram several days. I'm going to go live again this afternoon. Head over to Instagram, search for at Ken Coleman, and hit the old follow button. And I do respond to comments. It's a great way to hang out and communicate to make you better. So go check us out on Instagram at Ken Coleman. All right, Joe, it's a full show, but it looks like my time's almost up. But remember, you matter. You do have what it takes. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.